Hi there! I'm Juliana Lustenader, and today I'm going to show you how to knit the connecting garter tab, which you can find in my latest pattern, the Moraga Cowl. I have my project here in front of me, as well as my working yarn, and a third needle to do a 3 needle bind off, which I'll show you how to do in just a minute. First, you have to remove the markers that we had over here and over here, because they're going to get in the way of what we're going to do next. Our instructions say, with our right side facing, since we just finished a wrong side row, to knit 3 stitches and turn. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3. And instead of going on, we're going to flip our work like that and repeat this row 35 more rows. So just knitting these 3 stitches and turning our work back. And again. You're going to keep doing this for 35 more rows. And by then, you're going to have a really long garter tab, which we will then connect to the other side of the cowl. Alright, we're now at the point where we finished our 35 rows of garter stitch on those 3 stitches. It looks like this. It's kind of like the garter tab we did at the beginning of the pattern, but a lot longer. Now we're going to do a 3 needle bind off. And the way we prepare for that is we get these 3 stitches ready to go on the left needle, and we are going to do a 3 needle bind off with the 3 stitches over here. So I'm going to slip them a little closer to the end of the needle like that. And our instructions say to make sure that the right sides are facing each other, which means we're going to hold the needles up like this to each other. So the right side of our cowl is in this little pocket we've made, and our wrong side is on the outside. I'm going to hold my 2 stitches next to, my 2 needles next to each other, so that the first 3 stitches on both needles line up pretty well. Then I take my 3rd needle and I start my bind off. The first step is to enter the first stitch on the needle in the front, which is kind of tight right now, so pardon me as I finagle this. There we go, in it goes. And then into the stitch on the back needle. I'm going to knit these 2 stitches together like this, and then I'm going to slip those stitches off my circular needles. So I've decreased technically. That's the first step. We're going to repeat it, going into the first stitch of both needles and knitting them together, and then slipping them off our circulars. Now we need to bind off. We're going to slip the first stitch we knitted together over the second, and we're going to use the needles in our left hand to help us out here. So I go in this way and I pick it up and I slip it like that, like a regular bind off. And we repeat the whole thing again, knitting these 2 stitches together, slipping them off very carefully, and then binding off like that. And you're left with 1 stitch. Our instructions say to pull our yarn through that stitch without cutting it, so I'm going to make this loop really, really big. And then I'm going to pull my ball of yarn through it like that and tighten. There we go. When you open up your work, you're going to see that you've essentially connected the 2 sides to each other. So that's connecting the garter tab. To set up the rest of the pattern, we're now going to pick up some stitches along the top end of the garter tab. Our working yarn is already over here, which is great. We don't need this third needle anymore. With our working yarn, we're going to pick up 10 stitches along the edge here till we're halfway through the garter tab. We'll place a marker and then we will pick up 10 more stitches to make it nice and even. So I'm going to go in here and pick up a stitch like that. Oop, if I can. There we go. So there's one. I'm going to keep going along the same edge for 2, 3, 4, 5, and there are 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then I'm going to put a little safety pin there because that's what I like to use as stitch markers. That's my new beginning of the round, by the way, which we will get to in a second. And then I pick up 10 more stitches on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, ooh, come on, 5, 6, go here, ooh, 7, we're getting close, 8, 9, and 10. So we've added 20 stitches to our stitch count. And there you have it. You're ready to continue on in the pattern. The rest of the cowl is knit in the round, so you will always have the right side facing you as you continue knitting in a spiral around. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy knitting the rest of the Moraga cowl. Thanks again!